confusion about who am I, what am I here for, what am I supposed to do.
To be lost means you're looking and seeking. You needed to get lost away from who you thought you were in order to find this aspect of yourself.
Just have this dialogue with your spirit. What is this trying to teach me? Why am I lost? What am I trying to find? What am I looking for?
Your purpose right now is to find the pathway to your heart and to be in this loving embrace with yourself, and whatever that means or whatever that direction that takes, to heal those wounds. I feel lost in my life. How can I find my purpose again?
That's a deep one, because I think one point or another always brings you to that confusion about who am I, what am I here for, what am I supposed to do, how can I be most fulfilled. And that's a beautiful question to have, and it's an important one, because when you are in this vulnerable moment of confusion, when you are seeking answers, you are open. And as long as you are open to that wisdom, and as long as you are invoking it and asking it to give you answers, you will always be led and divinely guided, right?
Yeah, you know, even looking at it, I feel like I'm lost in my life. How do I find my purpose? Just looking at the lost in life, it doesn't have to be a negative. It can just be a little tweak. I think it's a good thing. I think, good or bad, that it's you are where you're supposed to be, and to be lost means you're looking and seeking something more than what you've had before, and maybe what you had before was superficial, and that's why you needed to get lost, so you can find the very depth and the very purpose you're looking for. And sometimes it means not avoiding the pain and the loss you feel inside, it's actually embracing it. And the more we see souls that embrace that lost aspect of themselves, they really find that they are more resilient and deeper and more resourceful than they were once before. And when you escape from the old identity of who you were in your childhood or your relationship with your parents, you're finding yourself that you are this spiritual being, and you needed to get lost away from who you thought you were in order to find this aspect of yourself that is what we want to bring this community about in the new earth.
Yeah, and have a relationship with your confusion. Have a relationship with not knowing. Ask, what is it trying to teach you? What is it here for? Because very often we feel confused only when we don't know how to utilize our resources and our power. So by asking genuine questions of yourself, of what is this trying to teach me? Why am I lost? What am I trying to find? What am I looking for? And when these rough diamonds come up, and they usually come up in very in ways that we don't expect them to. They might not be necessarily the most beautiful things that come up to the surface that give us that confusion. And when we give it the space and the time to actually embrace it and see that this kind of rough diamond that just needed a little bit of love and a little bit of polishing to take all the muck off of it, all of that uncertainty off of it, and find that center within. Like I said, you ask, you just have this dialogue with your spirit, because in the place of authenticity, in the place of who you truly are, aligning with who you truly are, you are not confused. You're never confused in a way that you don't know the path. You just trust that you're on it.
Yeah, and
right?
Beautiful, baby. And when you realize that you're trying to find your purpose and you're not sure what it is, to try to find it when you feel lost is trying to find a needle in a haystack when it's pitch black. I think your purpose right now is to find the pathway to your heart and to be in this loving embrace with yourself, and whatever that means or whatever that direction that takes, to heal those wounds. Get to that place, because once you find that within yourself, as you attract what you are, and you're being that, you will find the purpose will start to find its way to you as you found that purpose to become this healed, completed version of yourself.
And seek the community, seek your people, seek seek that safe space where you know that you're not being judged, even when you're confused. Because that's when the most love pours in. It pours in our vulnerable times, in the times when we're not ready to accept us. And if you are in the environment that is kind of nurturing you and celebrates the vulnerabilities, then you realize that your vulnerabilities and your confusion are your strengths.
Yeah, and even going for an aspect of that, after all the work we do, all the development, sometimes people can be surprised going, there was still something there in you that you need to heal. I'm like, of course. I mean, all that programming and all that stuff that happened when I was a kid, it's an unfolding every single day. I feel like there's so many more layers, you know, we're far more deeper than to think, oh, I'm all healed, I'm all good now. I mean,
that's the ego talking.
Yeah, and so I'm open to say, you know, even the trip we had recently, that things came up and I realized that the community in the space I was in, the family constellation, that's another story in itself, when it came up, that we were in the space that it could be healed because it was a judgmental place, and a vulnerability could come up where this child, the inner child who felt like they were bullied for being different in my own family, and I couldn't speak up then, but that inner child could take over when you're in this environment and you're thinking, where did that come from? And it's to be humble enough to admit that this inner child needs a hug, needs love right now, however way ugly it looks at the beginning. And the uglier it is, the more it's trying to do that. Don't go there, don't go there. And when you drop the guard and you allow itself to heal, you can feel very lost in that time, even if you think you found yourself, but you're very lost in that moment. And when you embrace that vulnerability in the right community, you find yourself again, not in the people per se, but in your heart, because there's nowhere else to go. And when you're able to do that, then, you know, the purpose is ultimately to live from your heart.
Thank you so much for sharing this, because it's a real life experience of overcoming the moments of being lost.
Yeah.
And, you know, the more we get to share that from the vulnerable and humble space, the more we allow it for the other people to embrace their confusion. So thank you for your honesty.
Thank you, baby.
Thank you.
That's what we want to do. If we don't want to see people who are having to be lost and by themselves any longer than they need to be, that they come along to something like this and say, all right, I get it. I'm not lost anymore. I'm just seeking. And they feel empowered by that. And then they find a community and they feel great. And this is what the New Earth is about, of course.
Yeah, I hope that answered your question.